would like to introduce to you this afternoon our guest speaker today for our Bixie Live event. So before establishing her own leadership development company, Voli Leadership Consulting in 2010, she held the senior marketing leadership role in Fortune 500 companies for 13 years. Amazing. Her company focuses on transformational change for senior leaders through executive coaching, bespoke leadership and team development programs, and mind training. She also teaches mindfulness and compassion, public workshops, and run women's holistic retreats. For her, success is measured by the new insights, mindsets, and behavior she supports, and she supports her workshop participants and coaches to open up possibilities and results at the individual and organizational level. Since 2019, she is co-founder of an eco-sustainable retreat center in Portugal, which Quinta Marugo, where you can reconnect your vision, values, and mission to successfully and intentionally lead a meaningful and fulfilled life. She will continue to support her clients in Asia via online, of course, like we're doing today, as she establishes and grows her presence in New York. So ladies, and of course, all the gentlemen who are in our live right now, let's welcome our guest speaker, Miss MaryAnn Voli.
Thank you, Vil, and it's a pleasure to be here again. This is episode number 2 of Money Wellness. For those of you who were already in episode 1, welcome back. We proceed with the journey towards emotional and mental balance around money. For those of you for whom it's the first time, welcome to a topic that is extremely important. Why is money wellness so important? Well, if our mind and our emotions are not aligned and we're being taken over by negative or unpleasant emotions or negative thoughts, we're not going to be able to make intelligent, clear, calm, and focused decisions and deal with things that come to us in our lives. For those of you who don't know me, thank you very much, Vil, for the resume reading. Briefly, I'm half American, half Italian, brought up in Spain. I've had lots of situations with money, so I'm a very normal human being. Money has a lot of baggage, a lot of emotions around them. In fact, right now, I'm going through a very intense emotional challenge around money. Let's say a money challenge, which is bringing up some tough emotions. Because as Dale said, I'm the founder of Quinta Marugo retreats here in Portugal. And because of COVID, prices for everything have exploded. So our swimming pool was supposed to be, let's say, 100. It has now become 250. So all the prices of everything that we quoted in 2019 have been increasing since 2021. So we're facing some financial challenges. So I can tell you, I'm putting in practice everything that I'm teaching you, everything that I'm sharing, and it works. It works not immediately. Sometimes we do need to practice more, and sometimes just with a short practice, we can sort of come out of some negative and unpleasant emotions. So it's not with the practices that I'm sharing with you, and I'll recap what we did last time. It's not that we don't feel any fear. It's not that we don't feel any unpleasant emotions. It's not that we don't worry, feel anxiety or stress. Is that we feel it, we're aware of it, it doesn't take us over, and we can, with the practices I'm sharing with you, we can go back to a more stable, calm, clear, focused, and aware mind. Last episode, we spoke about a couple tips and tricks that we can do to train our mind. And I'm going to share them with you right now. So for example, you're noticing that there's anxiety, you're noticing that there's worry, and worry has rewards. Science has shown that when we worry, the mind tells us, well, at least you're doing something. When we're actually not doing anything, we're just depleting our energy. So whenever you notice that there's any sense of worry, and you notice it in the body, or you notice the mind has gone into, because the mind catastrophizes. The mind creates amazing stories. In fact, we are wired for negative thinking more than for positive thinking. And where attention goes, energy flows. So if we're catastrophizing, if we have one fear and suddenly we create the end of the world, worst case scenarios flying around our mind, then that's where the energy is going to go. We're going to feel depleted. We're going to feel tired, and we're not going to make smart decisions. and we're not exactly going to be living meaningful and fulfilled lives. Definitely not much happiness when we're living from that space. So just knowing that, knowing the mind will go towards negative. So we need to train the mind to change where the attention goes. Remember, where attention goes, energy flows. So, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this thing about the mind catastrophizing. Something happens and the stories that we make and the disasters that we create in our mind. So whenever you feel there's a sense of worry that starts building and becoming anxiety, the first thing is to come to the moment. And you can do this by either focusing on your breath or, and I'm going to invite you all now, taking your fingers, your thumb and your first finger, and touching it slowly, rubbing so slowly that you can feel the ridges on both tips of the fingers. Just noticing what is happening. Just as a note, if you're not thinking about your problems, you don't have problems, because right here, right now, it's where you are. It's in right now, bringing your attention to the sensations, or perhaps you can also bring the fingers of one hand and passing it over the fingers in the palm of the other hand. Just noticing what happens. Where is your mind? Can your mind worry when your mind is fully on the sense of touch? I invite you to do this with me, closing your eyes. Notice every physical sensation of touch. And the mind will get distracted, and then just bring it back. Be really curious about the sensations on the hand. The fingers that are touching the other hand, and the sense of touch. And the fingers and the palm. Another practice that you can do in the moment whenever you feel a sense of worry or anxiety is checking in on your feet. Noticing how many toes you can feel. Noticing the weight of the feet and the legs. You can do this with your eyes open. In the moment, you're maybe speaking to somebody and just bringing some sense of worry. Maybe you're speaking to the banker and you're feeling a sense of worry. Just bringing your attention to the feet on the ground, noticing where the toes are. And just see what happens. Noticing what happens after you have brought your attention to the sense of touch on the hands, fingers, or the feet. And another one is just bringing your awareness to the breath. Noticing where you feel the breath. It could be the expansion and settling of the chest, the abdomen, or the air coming in and out of the nose. And when you notice perhaps more of a sense of calm and clarity, the second thing to do when you're feeling a sense of worry is asking yourself, are these thoughts useful? Where else can I put my attention? It could be that the mind is going, oh, I'm not going to be able to pay back. I'm not going to be able to do this, or I'm not going to have enough money. There are a lot of fears around money. There's been a lot of research. One of them is the bag lady syndrome, or not being good enough. So again, coming back to the body, to the fingers, the hands, feet, or the breath. And then asking yourself, are these thoughts useful? Where else can I put my attention so there's a different energy that's flowing? So this is what we talked about last week. And now we're going to do two things today. Today, we're going to look at a practice managing fear. And then we're going to look at another practice that we're going to be doing together, around gratitude. So today we're going to be doing more practice. I'll be speaking less, just sharing some of these practices, and you're going to be doing them. So the first one I'm going to share with you is a practice, since we've been speaking about fear. The first one is, how do you manage fear? And there are different ways. The one I'm going to show you actually comes from the Stoics, Stoicism, which is an ancient Greek philosophy and practices of training the mind to attain inner peace in this challenging world and overcoming adversity. So really reaching that sense of inner peace. And from a sense of inner peace, we make the right decisions and we can be happier. So I'm going to share with you my screen. And this is okay. Can you see? I'm going to check in with the team if you can see my screen, or if there are any. Yes, perfect. And by the way, at any time, please do post your questions. I know that the questions will be sent to me. So this is a fear worksheet, and there's a great talk by Tim Ferriss about Stoicism. And you will need 3 pieces of paper. I'm going to share them with you now, and then you can write them and spend time to define your fears. But the first thing is, so in my case, and I use this very often, in my case right now, there's a sense of, I completely changed my life. I left my business, even though I still do some of it, but I left my business, a very successful business in Hong Kong. I left all my friends in Hong Kong. And my husband and I decided to come to this very small town, very small village, and we purchased some property, and we're creating a retreat center, which was supposed to be a 2-year project, and it's now become 3 years. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and what I do sometimes, I might wake up in the middle of the night. It's happened 2 times in the last 3 years, and I wake up in the middle of the night and I just go through just this sense of a lot of fears. So what I do is I get a piece of paper and I just start writing them down. Because what happens if you don't write it down, it starts creating, it just goes around and around and around and around in your head. So the idea is to get them out of your head. Because once you get them out of your head, then you can look at them and then you can decide if they're real or not. Mark Twain said, a lot of terrible things happened to me in my life. Thank goodness, only some of them actually happened. We have our fears. What we fear is much worse than what actually is. So just being able to look at the fears and say, okay, no, or yes, but how can I repair it, or how can I prevent it? So the first thing is you make a list of all your fears. And it could be about things about, I need to speak to the bank. So there's some fears around that. Or I want to take this trip, or change jobs, or take a loan, or start a dream project. Include here whatever is giving you fear. Then you go and you make a list of all the fears that you have about that. So I'll share some of them. Is when we have to ask for a loan, so that they will say no, that I won't be able to pay back, that it will be a lot of work to set it up, that I'm not good enough, that people won't come to the retreat, so I won't be able to pay back, that they will take the place from us, that the constructor won't finish in time, that the work will be bad work. Just write them all down. And just as you write them, just releasing them. Then the next column is preventative actions for the fear becoming true, so that the bank will say no. Okay, so the bank, what if the bank says no? So what can I do to make sure that they say no? What is it that I need to have in the bank? What are the documents that I need to have in the bank? So really make a list of things that I can do to prevent that fear becoming true. The next one is, what if they do say no? So repair actions if fear comes true. So if they say no, okay, so what is the gift here? Because in everything that is unpleasant, there is a gift and an opportunity. So what will be the gift there? I can be creative about how I can do some crowdfunding, how I can access my resources as far as friends and family. Maybe pre-sell the rooms for 2 years and people have their rooms. That's when creativity starts coming along. And just by start doing this practice, you can start seeing things more on the paper and they're not taking you over. So what it's doing is activating the neurofrontal cortex, which is the one that is takes executive decisions, and you're not overtaken by fears. So define your fears. How can you prevent your fears coming true, and repair actions? And my clients, I would do a lot of this work with my clients and also myself. a lot of those fears, you realize they're not true. I'm not good enough. Who says I'm not good enough? And we'll be talking in the third episode about kindness to self. So once you have gone through this fear worksheet, the first one, you go to the second page. And here what you want to be writing down is what could be the benefits of the attempt or partial success. So not even like I'm going to be super successful, but partial success. So what happens if I do speak to this person and I'm partially successful? So here you start looking at the benefits of the action. What if I'm partially successful with the bank, that they will give me part of the loan? And I write down all the benefits there. The third page of this worksheet is the cost of inaction. Very often our fears are about doing something. But what we don't tend to do is, what is the cost if I don't do it? So the cost of, for example, starting this dream project, the cost of inaction in 6 months is that, okay, I will continue being successful, but I will not be 100% happy. The cost of inaction in 1 year is that I will feel stagnant. I will have not much meaning in my life. The cost of inaction in 3 years. So this really puts, or in this case, if I need to speak to somebody, I need to have a difficult conversation about money. So again, or I need an investment that I need to make. What is the cost of inaction? 6 months, 1 year, and 3 years. And this is very important because, as I said before, we tend to have fear about what if we do. We don't ask ourselves the question, what will happen if I don't do it? Any questions about this before we go into another practice? Any questions? No questions for now. Okay, perfect. So we just looked at the fear worksheet, 3 pieces of paper, write it down, prevent, repair. Second page, what if I'm partially successful? And the third one, the cost of inaction. Now, the third practice is something that some of you might already know, which is a practice around gratitude. Very often, because our mind is negative, our mind is focused on what we don't have. Our mind is focused on what is going wrong. And then that's where we become habitually to this. Also, we will share the worksheet to the audience. Brilliant. So the idea is, the more attention we put on what's not working, on what we don't have, on what we wish we have, but we don't have, what's happening that we don't want, the more we put our attention there, the more it's going to stay there. And there's actually a physical, mental, and psychological impact to that. It drains energy, it drains happiness, it drains effectiveness, relationships. There's research that really, when we're constantly focused on negative and living from that space, and I don't think I need to tell you, for sure, a lot of you have experienced when you're so much focused on that. So with the practice of gratitude, and we're gonna do a practice together, and then I'm gonna give you something that you can do every evening. With this practice, research has shown that there's more happiness, that people tend to have less of fear of missing out, they're more content, their relationships are better. There's lots and lots of research. Of course, there's also, it's not the panacea. It's not like once you do the gratitude practice, everything will be perfect. But the idea is it does have an impact. So why not do things that will have a positive impact on our well-being? And in this case, when we have well-being and we're grateful for what we do have, then it's easier then to go with a calm mind, work for what we're still missing and what we want more of, but from the foundations of what we do have. Okay, so now I'm going to invite all of you to sit comfortably. We're going to do a short mindfulness practice. We're going to be closing our eyes if that feels comfortable. If it doesn't feel comfortable, I invite you to keep your eyes with a soft gaze looking downwards, so you don't get the distraction of my beautiful purple color on the screen. So you want to be looking downwards towards something that's neutral. Or if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. And we're going to do a 4-minute mindfulness practice, which we did the first episode, which is about bringing our attention to the breath, to cultivate calm, clarity, and awareness. And then the last 4 minutes, we're going to do a practice around gratitude. Okay. Sitting comfortably, both feet on the ground or crossing your legs, whatever feels comfortable for you. Some of you might already be meditators who are listening to this. So sit down in whatever comfortable way you feel is going to support your practice for this 8 minutes. You want your back softly erect but relaxed. So you don't want to be too stiff, but you don't want to be too relaxed. So calmly allowing for the back to be straight, your neck straight, and your head calmly balanced on your neck. Closing your eyes. Bringing now your awareness to the body sitting here. Noticing the weight of the body on the sitting bones, on whatever surface you're sitting on. Now bringing your awareness to the breath. I'm going to now expanding your awareness to notice the breath as it comes in and out from your chest, or your abdomen, or your nostrils. Remembering there's no specific way of breathing here, it's just noticing the fact that you are breathing. So if the breath is shallow, allow it to be shallow. If the breath is deep, allow it to be deep. You're practicing bringing your awareness to this moment and away from your mind. And whenever you do notice that the mind has wandered off, because the mind will wander off either to the future, the past, or things to do, again, notice it. Notice that the mind has wandered and kindly escort it back to the physical sensations of breathing in and breathing out. For some of you for whom this is the first time, there might be some sense of impatience or boredom because you might not be used to doing nothing, just being with your breath. Again, just notice that. And then gently escorting your attention back to each in-breath and each out-breath. If for whatever reason you're finding it difficult to breathe during your meditation, then bring your attention to the body. And remembering that at any time, you have an option to open your eyes if anything feels uncomfortable, and bring your attention to something that you can see, or something that you can hear, or you can bring your attention to your feet. So if for any of you there's a difficulty in breathing, that is absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong. And you can instead bring your attention to the physical sensations of sitting. Or you can, I have a client of mine who does feel uncomfortable with the breathing. So what he does during the practice is he touches his fingers, or he touches one hand with the other, with the fingers of the other hand. So know that you are always in choice. You can always make a choice on where you want to put your attention. If you notice that the attention is on the stories, on the negative stories, that's when you do want to change. You want to move it to something that's in the body, either the hearing, touch, sight, or smell. Whenever you notice that the mind has wandered, because the mind will wander, the objective is not to empty the mind. The objective is to become aware where the mind goes and then be able to gently and kindly escort it to where you want it to go. And in this practice, it's any body sensations of the breath or body sensations of just being sitting here, or touch, sense, or sight. And the objective, the more you want to control your crazy thoughts, the more they're going to be there. So it's just noticing, it's like, look at those crazy thoughts. Oh, look at the mind is wandering. You notice with a sense of curiosity and kindness, and then you escort the attention back to the object of your attention that you have chosen. Breath, sound, touch. Those are that you can do. You can smell and hear it. Smell and tasting is a bit more difficult. So hearing, touch, or sight. And the mind will wander, especially if you're not used to. So it's a practice. And now we're going to slightly shift and move towards a sense of gratitude. So bringing to mind any circumstance, event, person for whom you feel a sense of gratitude and appreciation. It could be something in the far past or something in the recent past. Or it could be gratitude for giving yourself the time to be here, right now. If you're outside, sensing the sun or the moonlight coming out, or the breeze. It could be gratitude for a person has been kind to you today or in the past. It could be a mentor or somebody who has taught you something. Or it could be an animal with its unconditional love. And just notice as your mind, as your attention goes towards this events, circumstances, people, or animals for whom you feel gratitude, what happens to you? How do you feel that in the body? Or perhaps a sense of gratitude to yourself, to a quality that you have. Your intelligence. You're just simply being alive. Your capacity to breathe. For the legs that take you from one place to the other. If it feels comfortable, perhaps even bringing a sense of a smile to the face. Noticing when you smile, what happens? When you bring your attention to a sense of gratitude, what happens? And now, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And if you feel like sharing how this practice was for you, how do you feel now? And what did you notice during the practice? One of the questions that came up is, how do I know when I'm doing it correctly? Again, there's a wanting to do things correctly, and we force ourselves to do things, and we're pressuring ourselves and pushing ourselves. It's really about sitting, noticing, putting the attention on where you choose to. If it's uncomfortable, the breath, you put it on the hearing or a sense of touch or sight. And then whenever you notice that the mind has wandered, you bring back your attention gently and with non-judgment towards your object of attention. That's if there's going to be a definition of what it's like to do it right. I do suggest doing it at the beginning, doing it with an app or with a recording, because sometimes the mind will wander off during the 10 minutes that we have set to do this practice, and we have wandered for 10 minutes. And that's okay as well. Again, next episode will be about kindness and kindness to self. We're so harsh on ourselves. So I'm not sure if this answers your question, but how do I know if I'm doing it correctly? It's because you're developing the capacity of being aware where your attention is, and then you're making a choice. With awareness comes choice. Where is my mind? And I choose to redirect it kindly, without force, to where I want it to go. And remembering we want our attention to be in the space of the body, the sensations, so the sense of hearing, touch, or sight, and the breath. So I'm curious if any of you wrote how are you feeling, or any other questions. Can you please share some of the meditation techniques? Oh, there are many. So the one I practice is mindfulness, and mindfulness meditation. Okay, so mindfulness meditation is bringing the attention to where I choose to. So either, as I said, either the breath, the sense of touch, hearing, or seeing. And sometimes I open up the awareness to whatever is happening. So I'm aware of the thoughts, I'm aware of the emotions, and just everything that is arising, that's happening in the moment, without attaching to it, just observing. As you know, when you're sitting next to a river or the sea and you just see things, or you're looking up at the sky and you see the clouds drifting by, coming and going. Or you're looking at the sea or a river and things are just coming and going. So just observing that with a sense of distance. There's also visualization meditation, where you're visualizing something, which I do sometimes in my compassion practice. And there is meditation with light. There is meditations with chakra. There's so many types of meditation. And I invite you to explore what is it that works for you. For me, what works is the mindfulness awareness and compassion. And within the compassion, there's the gratitude meditation, which is just bringing my awareness to what I'm grateful for. Hopefully that answers your question. How many minutes should we meditate? Brilliant question, as all the others, because it is important to ask questions. So thank you. So I would invite you to start with at least 10 minutes. So when I teach mindfulness-based stress reduction, we do invite people to do 30 to 45 minutes, and the research about calm and well-being is the longer the better. That being said, is like exercise. You don't want to start the way I see it. You don't want to start with the 10 kilos or the 20 kilos if you've never raised weight. So 10 minutes is something that you can start with. And for sure, we can find 10 minutes in our busy days, and it could be during the commute, or it could, ideally, you want to find somewhere where you're quiet and peaceful. And 10 minutes is, and if you cannot find 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Or right when you get up, I've had clients who said, okay, alarm off, app on. So the minute the alarm goes off, I sit. I prefer sitting down. I sit down and I do my 10 minutes. I wake up 10 minutes early. But the benefits are incredible. So highly suggested. Thank you for that question. Should I meditate in the morning or at night? If I'm going to tell you, ideally morning and night, because it is. The more you do it, the better it is. It's like exercise. If you do it for 5 minutes, there's certain benefits. If you do it for 20 minutes, there's certain benefits. So it's the same with the practice. And remember, there is the formal practice, so sitting and the attention. And there's also just every moment that you feel, or every hour, you can have a little bell, and you just remember to do this, coming to the moment and letting all the story-making mind pause for a second and come to your fingers or come to your feet. So not only in the evening, in the morning, or one of the two, it's also, you can do it during the day. So just for 1 minute or 20 seconds, but it's just pausing that worry mind, that monkey mind, or I call it the cow mind, because it's constantly ruminating. So you can do that throughout the day, 1 minute here and there. No more questions for now. Please continue with what you, okay? Okay, so if there are no more questions for now, we're gonna stop. I'm gonna invite you then to do a gratitude practice every evening. And the way to do it is you write down 3 things that you're grateful for that happened during the day, and why. Why are you grateful that the sun was shining? Because you felt a sense of warmth, of light. Why are you grateful that a stranger smiled at you? Because it made you feel good, it made you feel seen. So you do this for 21 days. The 21-day gratitude challenge that I'm launching to you. And just 3 things, write them down, and ideally different. So if I'm grateful for my best friend, then there's something specific. I'm grateful about my best friend because she did this or he did this. So it has to be different. And it could be the small things. And sometimes we forget the small things, which is what makes a great life. It's the small events and the small actions that really bring a sense of beauty. So that's where I invite you. So every day, 3 things you're grateful for and why. 21 days, and just check how you feel. I'd love to hear how you feel after you do this challenge. I sometimes fall asleep. Is that an indication that I'm doing it wrong? It means that you're tired. I've had lots of executives that practice with me and they wonder why they get tired when they're running on empty. So it just means that your body needs sleep. Allow it to go to sleep. If you really want to practice, then what you can do is you can open your eyes, take some deep breaths, or do standing for 5 minutes, or stand up and then sit down again. So again, it's an indicator that you're falling asleep, that you're sleepy, that you're sleep deprived. If you do want to meditate, then you don't want to fall asleep. So in that case, you can, if you notice it, just open your eyes, take some deep breaths in, and then start again. But it's not that you're doing it wrong. It just means that you need some more sleep. Thank you for that last question. Thank you all for being here. I really look forward to our next episode in which we will be covering self-kindness. So thank you very much. And I'm very, very grateful for your presence today. Bye.
I'm sorry, I was on mute, but thank you so much, MaryAnn. Wait, I'm just gonna do this. And thank you also, ladies, for all your questions. Very informative. No, I learned a lot also during this session. Okay, so I hope you continue to just practice what MaryAnn discussed, like meditation, right? And what I like about what she mentioned was the last part, that write 3 things that you are grateful for at the end of the day, and just do it every day. I actually practice that. I've been practicing that for, I don't know, for a long time already, since I also journal, and it helps you like finish your day. It helps me finish my day actually on a positive note. So I hope you also will do that. No, just try it. Just get a journal, get a pen, and write something that you are very much grateful for every day. And I'm sure meron. Oh wait, I'm just okay. All right. So next week, ayan, very exciting tong episode natin next week. Why? Because wait, I'm just gonna flash it. Let's share my screen. There you go. So next week, we will be discussing K-pop meets NFT with Chloe Han, brand manager at BitMEX. So I'm sure marami na kayo narinig, no, about NFTs, about cryptocurrencies, which we discussed last time also. But for next week, ayan, so two worlds rather collide, no? Yan sa mga mahilig sa K-pop like me. So I hope you get to come and attend our next live session. So again, K-pop meets NFT with Chloe Han, brand manager at BitMEX. I will not discuss more about it, just an announcement so that lahat tayo ay maging excited next week. So I hope to see everyone next week again, same time, Thursday, 24 February at 6 p.m. Manila time. So again, thank you so much for attending Bixie Live every Thursday. Just continue to follow Bixie on Facebook and IG. At the same time, please also download the Bixie app. It's both available on Android. On the Play Store and iOS. So abang lang kayo doon. We usually have giveaways. We usually have partnerships with different brands and different shops where we give occasional giveaways. No, and so yeah. Again, follow us on Instagram. It's called @mybixie. On Facebook, Bixie. And please don't forget to download the Bixie app. Available kung iPhone yung gamit nyo or Android man yan. Available siya pareho on iOS and on the Play Store. So dun sa Bixie app, download the app, register, and go to community. Marami kayong matututunan doon. And we will also be putting in articles that are coming straight Sino na nakuha namin from the different that we garnered some information from the users and kung ano yung gusto nilang mabasa doon. So I think starting next week we will be posting articles in the Bixie app na I'm sure makakatulong sa ating lahat. So again, thank you so much for being here today. And again, next week invite ko ulit kayo, K-pop meets NFT. Thursday, 24 February at 6 p.m. Thank you. Bye.